Good day, beautiful people. I don't know if you've heard of the gold card that Donald Trump has proposed to foreigners or rich foreigners to get their advanced or expedited green card in the United States for $5 million. But this is something interesting you should listen to.
Trump's so-called gold card program, visa program. You've heard about this? He's offering residency and a path to citizenship for $5 million. This is not an immigration policy, it's a fire sale. Citizenship is just another product on the shelf.
So basically, Donald Trump and Elon Musk have added to their repertoire bringing in foreigners or educated foreigners or higher level foreigners to do the jobs and tasks and bring jobs to the United States. I find this as a slap in the face, especially with all of the cuts that are going on in education, in the education department, in the education department itself as well. So one thought that comes to mind is the money that they're putting towards bringing foreigners in that are educated. That same money could be used to educate our own children and our own citizens here.
I mean, why not tweak that program? Allow Americans to sell their citizenship for $5 million. Now that makes sense. Let struggling Americans get paid and move out of that country with their newfound millions. That's a program I could get behind. Imagine if, for instance, just say 10% of African Americans could sell their citizenship for $5 million each. That's roughly 5 million new millionaires, $25 trillion between them. You can get a Dominican citizenship for an investment of just $100,000. You could make the Dominican Republic $25 trillion richer overnight. I'm just saying African Americans because they have the most obvious reasons for being interested in selling their citizenship since they don't get much out of it in the first place. But if you offered a program like that in reality, well, I think that you'd see that country empty out.
I have a few things to say about this. If the average American could sell their citizenship for $5 million, I think that they probably would, because the working man or working class man or family is probably not going to see $5 million in their lifetime, especially the ones living below the poverty line. And then you come to African Americans. Let me make this disclaimer. A lot of African Americans are actually indigenous Americans. Let me go ahead and make that disclaimer because I want to be very clear about that. So selling your citizenship will kind of be like you're selling what already belongs to you. So let's just go ahead and make that clear. Another point that I'd like to make is if African Americans were to go ahead and sell their citizenship, and once again, a lot of us are probably not going to even make that or see that in their lifetime, that could be a form of reparations. However, you would be selling off what you have worked for, what your ancestors have worked for, and what rightfully belongs to you in a lot of cases. As far as the land, the resources and things like that, they already belong to you, so you'd be selling it basically. But also what I wanted to say to that is if we were as African Americans able to sell our citizenship for $5 million and go somewhere else, what we could in turn do is come back to this land and purchase the land. And I'm sure a lot of us would actually do that. Now, this is just a theory. This is not in stone or anything like that. This is just something that the gentleman in the video is actually suggesting. And a lot of the reason why we won't probably ever get reparations in a financial mean anyway is because it would bankrupt the system, just like giving $5 million to every citizen that wanted to sell their citizenship would bankrupt the country. So this is something that's probably never going to happen. It's just interesting just to hear this point of view. And reparations to ADOS in itself is a hot button topic because it would also bankrupt the nation.
I mean, ask yourself, if you're an American, what would you rather have? American citizenship or $5 million? $5 million and the opportunity to get citizenship elsewhere. and have all the safety and all the security that comes with being that rich. Retaining your citizenship is never going to secure for you that kind of wealth. It's never going to secure that kind of wealth for you. It's never going to give you that kind of freedom, and it's never going to give you that kind of security. And I think you know it. I think you ought to demand the right to sell your citizenship, since he's already treating it like a product, like an asset that can be bought and sold. So why can't the people who already possess that asset, who already have that product, why can't they sell it? Isn't that capitalism? Isn't that the free market? Forget about selling it. If American citizenship is worth $5 million, well, shouldn't we be entitled to a refund? I mean, I don't know about you, but I sure never got $5 million worth of value from my citizenship. Did you? Well, I think the government ought to buy it back, just like corporations, with their share buybacks and so on. You can have it. Give me that $5 million and we'll be on our way. Who wouldn't go for that deal? Well, you'd see that whole country depopulated within days.
One thing that comes to mind as far as U.S. citizenship is concerned is probably the military might and force that the U.S. has, which is why it's able to do a lot of the things that it does, not necessarily because it actually has the financial backing to do so. It just has the military might to do the things that it does. Also, there are other territories that the U.S. actually controls, but if you live there, you're not technically a U.S. citizen, such as Puerto Rico and a few other territories that the U.S. oversees as well. So that's a thought. Another thing that comes to mind is the fact of all of the taxes that we have to pay as United States citizens. Even if we don't physically live here, but you still hold a passport or citizenship here in the United States, you still have to pay taxes here. So that's also something that a lot of people might want to get away from when it comes to having the opportunity to sell your citizenship, because if you can sell your citizenship for $5 million, you can go somewhere else where the cost of living is a fraction of the cost. And especially when it comes to African Americans, you can go somewhere else, say like Ghana, if you find out your heritage or where you're from, what tribe or nation, and you want to go back to Africa and use that money to rebuild your clans people or your tribesmen. That would be a force to be reckoned with. And then Africa would become a force to be reckoned with. So that's one of the main reasons I don't think that this will ever come to pass, because the United States and the world in itself, especially the continents that were under colonialism and had slavery, they're just not going to go for that. They are not as a whole going to do anything that is going to benefit or lift up the black population or descendants of slavery. So I don't see this happening. It's a possibility, but I don't, because the government is going to want that money to go into its own pockets, not for it to be dished out, which is why they're offering the citizenship for $5 million or the gold status to foreigners versus citizens being able to sell their citizenship. But it's a great thought. But those are just some things to think about. Let me know what you think. Would you sell your U.S. citizenship for $5 million? I know there are a lot of people, they think and they have the idea that this place is the land of milk and honey. However, there are a lot of things here that have been pretty detrimental to certain groups of people. So with that being said, let me know what you think, and thank you all for watching and listening. Be blessed.